The campaign and the computer, social media, has had a starting role in Wisconsin's political drama for the last year.
But in this historic recall campaign, it has become one of the key tools for organizing, fundraising, and for Republicans and Democrats alike, and for communicating with voters of all stripes. Fox 6's Mike Lowe has the political lowdown tonight.
Ted, in some respects, the Twitterverse, as it is often referred to, is a vast ocean of banality, where you can find such indispensable insights as what David Hasselhoff is currently listening to on the radio, or that Vanna White has discovered how to make the smiley face emoticon. If you don't know what that is, don't waste the brain cells. Suffice it to say, it is open to anyone with a computer and something to say, regardless of whether what they have to say has any weight or merit. But Twitter has some very real, very impactful uses. One of them is political communication. And in the recall campaign, it has proved to be at least as powerful a source of information as television itself. It's the Twitter transformation.
It's just amazing to me to think about how many followers on Facebook and even on Twitter that I have.
The candidates and the campaigns are just a click away.
Social media is right at the center of the recall movement. The movement against Scott Walker wouldn't have been as successful and probably couldn't have been done without social media.
This is truly the first election where everyone's a pundit, and where the campaigns and candidates are no longer bound by the constrictions of TV ads and news reports. In fact, that 24-hour news cycle you've heard so much about, that's now the 24-second news cycle.
Now the news cycle is every moment, because within an hour, you can have so many things happening.
Twitter now has 100 million active users. That's 10 times more than when President Barack Obama became the first national politician to fully harness its power in his successful 2008 campaign.
When Barack Obama was for president 4 years ago, people were sort of stunned at using social media. Now social media have become sort of the central nervous system.
During the epic budget battle, a fast-breaking story with so many different angles, the Twitter hashtag WIUnion became sort of a clearinghouse for information related to the legislature, the protests, and the unions. It was common to see lawmakers tweeting from the Senate floor.
And last year, in the height of all this, while we were intense about things, one night I tweeted I was watching American Idol on Fox 6 with my wife eating a bowl of chili.
It is one of the historic tweets. It has to be looked at as a historic tweet. I don't think he gets it. I think he looks very callow. He looks very uncaring.
Today, the hashtag WIRecall is where you'll find the candidates, the voters, and the reporters who cover them, all weighing in. Twitter is now an indispensable tool for political campaigns, not only for communication, but also for voter outreach and fundraising.
It brings the individual into politics.
It is not, however, a place for heightened discourse. Instead of the profound, you'll get the pithy, wrapped in a nice bow in 140 characters or fewer.
Social media is, in a sense, bumper sticker politics. I mean, in, 140 characters, you can't give a policy wonk explanation for the Ryan budget or for why the Ryan budget is a bad thing.
The act of tweeting, which sounds so pleasant, so innocent, almost like whistling, can be fraught with danger. The most notorious case of a politician misusing Twitter, Congressman Anthony Weiner of New York, tweeting something very private, which ended up costing him his job and his marriage. Just as it can douse the marital flames of passion, it can also inflame the debate in politics.
Social media trends to the hot and to the emotional and therefore, frankly, to the demagogic.
You've had a number of folks step in it on Twitter. I think there is a vernacular on Twitter that's different than when I'm sitting here talking to you.
Political figures tend to type things on Twitter they wouldn't normally say on camera or in public. For example, State Senator Lena Taylor compared Scott Walker to Hitler. Democratic spokesman Graham Zulinski is as candid on camera as he is on the screen, and he's lobbed accusations about child rape at prominent Republicans.
No, nothing. I regret nothing.
Zulinski is a prolific tweeter who says he doesn't regret any of his tweets. His background as a writer for the Washington Post, Chicago Tribune, and Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel prepared him for the punchy prose needed on Twitter. Now, as the PR man for a political party, he says he doesn't need the press as much.
Frankly, it's a way for us to bypass folks like you. for us to bypass traditional journalism and talk directly to our people without the media filter.
They can reach the public directly. They can say exactly what they want.
There is a key organizing element on Twitter, so a tweet about a protest, a rally, or volunteer opportunities has the potential to turn into this.
We had 35,000 people that submitted more than 1 million signatures, and there's no way we could have done that without social media.
The single most prominent politician in the state has 2 Twitter accounts, one for the official side of things and one for the campaign, a total of more than 50,000 followers.
Probably the best thing for us is, somehow when we think the truth is being twisted out by maybe our opposition, boy, we can get that right out to tens of thousands of people.
If you follow @GovWalker, that's Scott Walker's Twitter handle, you'll get a glimpse of the governor's schedule, what issues he thinks are important, and what he's been doing in his very limited downtime.
Because I think people need to have a window into who you are and what's going on in your life. They don't need to know everything. They don't need to know every meal I have every day, but I try to mix it up a little bit.
Let me take back what I said about not regretting anything I tweeted. I think I could have provided more context for what I was tweeting sometimes. I think I certainly, but that's part of the good and bad of it.
It's also becoming a substitute for old-fashioned retail politics. The retweet is now the substitute for the handshake, the Instagram, the stand-in for the diner visit. Especially in a 4-week sprint of a campaign, it's a virtual visit for voters who feel like they're having a one-on-one interaction online.
What social media has done is it's made the individual feel that they're part of the political system, part of the political movement, that they can make a difference.
Ted Koppel once said that we may be reconstructing the Tower of Babel here. We now have the ability to communicate with everything and say nothing. Everyone's opinion is afforded equal weight regardless of merit, so it is certainly social, it's simply not scholarly.
A couple things. Graham Zielinski says he doesn't regret some of his tweets, but a couple times, in fact, just today, PolitiFact called them pants on fire. Those tweets had so much bearing that they decided to do a fact check on him, and they found what he said to be not true.
Yeah, and you heard what he said, that initially we asked him if he had regretted anything he had tweeted, because obviously within Twitter you can have immediate access and get something out really without thinking about it as much. And then he came back and said he wished he had put some things in greater context. So that was his answer.
I kind of think Abe Lincoln would have been good on the Twitter.
Probably.
Just something to think about. Mike, thanks very much. Mary?
Honest Abe, you bet he
Yeah,
would
I think
have.
he would have been.
You got it. Well, their songs define an era, and their unique sound made them a legendary musical family.
Tonight, fans are remembering the life of one of